Sneak and Show list from Chase Zenner here on your left-hand side. He is a permission suite, which I guess is the most controversial thing about Sneak and Show list. 4 copies of Force of Will, 3 copies of Daze, 2 Misdirections, and a Spell Pierce. And otherwise, is your pretty standard allotment of cantrips, intuitions, and then Emrakul's and Gristlebrand's to eventually wrap it up.
Hetrick is playing Stoneforge. He has a small black splash for 2 Thoughtseizes in his main deck. You're also going to find 2 Cabal Therapies and 3 Lingering Souls to flashback with that black splash in the sideboard. Traditional Stoneforge deck, blue-white with Stoneforge Mystic and Batterskull and Umezawa Sheet and that sort of thing. Some permission and swords and Force of Will, and some card selection with Brainstorm and Jace the Mind Sculptor. So I'm sure you guys have probably seen this deck before.
Yeah, it's a derivative of the deck that Tom Martell won Grand Prix in Indianapolis with a couple of months ago. Fell off the radar a little bit because of the format becoming a lot more, combo oriented and fast in the last couple of months. And Lingering Souls is not Lingering Souls is very good in attrition or combat oriented matchups. Not so much against the combo decks of the format, but
yes,
it has been making a return to prominence in recent months. It was well represented at the most recent Legacy Grand Prix in Atlanta.
Yep. So we're going to see a turn 1 Brainstorm over here. Turn 2 Brainstorm for Chase, and Michael's going to respond with a Brainstorm himself. Look for some options, see what he can do here.
So what are Hetrick's pieces of permission in this matchup?
So the permission that he has that is relevant, it's going to be 4 Force of Wills and 3 Spell Pierce. He also has 2 Thoughtseizes to kind of break things up proactively, along with 2 Vendilion Clicks, and he also has 4 Snapcaster Mages as well. So he's got some decent permission. 4 Swords to Plowshares as well are perfectly reasonable, but that is bad against one half of the combo.
Yeah.
Realistically, it's bad against both halves. It's not very good against Emrakul or Grizzlebrand, and lets Grizzlebrand draw 7 free cards. So.
And he has a single Caracas in his deck as well, which could be very good if it comes up.
Yeah, if he's able to find it, Caracas is very good in these matchups for keeping the Legends in control through sneak attack and through show and tell.
So Chase over here resolving his Brainstorm. It looks like he has a fetch line in his hand, so he's going to be improving his card quality here a little bit with a shuffle.
Set that back.
And another Tarn. So if you're in Hetrick's position right now, what are you thinking is going on with your opponents? What deck is he? What do you think is going on with his hand? Can you draw any conclusions from where we are right now?
From the opening first 2 turns, not a ton. I think that you're going to expect to play against a combo deck more often than not. So if I'm playing against a deck that has shown me 2 Scalding Tarns, I don't think it's out of the question to think that you're playing against Sneak and Show, because realistically I think that you as a player can think that you're either playing against Sneak and Show or you're playing against Blue-Red Delver.
Well, there's now the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah, it's a very dead giveaway now what exactly he's playing against.
But you could also be assuming, based on the first 2 land drops, you could also be assuming, Time Spiral is a possibility.
Sure, it's possible that he's playing against, High Tide, but I think it's rather unlikely of the 3 options available.
Yeah, Time Spiral a little off the radar.
Yeah,
and pretty cost prohibitive as well.
So we see a show and tell being put on the stack, and we're going to have a fight over it. We'll see how Hetrick is going to be able to fight this.
Actually, don't even know if he has a count. Or he's going to click in response, which is pretty awesome.
I guess he's going to hope that he only has 1 threat.
Yeah.
The problem is, and this is what I found with show and tell, is that maybe he only has 1 threat, but if he has a sneak attack in his hand, he's more than happy to put that into play.
Well, he has a Grizzlebrand and a sneak attack along with another show and tell and an intuition. And so his hand is loaded.
There's 1 card hiding above that intuition as well that we can't see. If that's another large threat, if that's Emrakul or what have you, we'll see what it is. It's a second
copy of Grizzlebrand, so this is a disaster.
Yeah, so it's a very relevant card.
So we actually need a Force of Will here. We can't. This click is not enough.
Yeah.
To stop what's about to happen.
What makes Sneak and Show kind of interesting is because it gets hands like these where there are times where you play a show and tell and then you want to fight over it with Force of Will and that sort of thing, and then there's other hands where you're just like, all right, show and tell, and they counter it and you're like, show and tell again. okay, cast sneak attack. And you're like, geez, I have to like counter all these things. Does he even have the giant threat in his hand? You know, but like I can't afford to not counter them. And then there's the games where they fight over that particular card too. So its redundancy is what makes it such a good deck.
So what do you have to take here? I mean, assuming that you can't stop the card from actually coming into play, are you just taking Intuition so he can't Intuition for forces next turn? Like, I'm not even sure what you're supposed to do.
I'm not really,
Sneak attack.
He's going to take sneak attack. I'm not really sure that this is a win-win situation for him.
All right. So it's still on the stack here. It looks like
Rawr.
Academy Ruins. Lame.
Yeah.
Lame.
Tough crowd. Hetrick has a Jace in his hand. He also has a, a Swords of Plowshares. So he's doing okay.
Well, he's missing white mana. He's on Island Academy Ruins.
Yeah, he's missing white mana. Also, Gristlebrand can be activated twice, so he can search for a Force of Will if he needs to respond to Jace. Does he have anything in his deck like a Spell Pierce?
He has 1 Pierce,
Dazes,
3 Dazes,
okay,
4 Force of Wills. So,
okay.
Yeah, I would definitely just draw a 7 here. Let's just start there. The problem is that, like, if he draws 7 in bricks, it's risky to draw 7 again, because if he bricks a second time, then he just dies to the Vendilion Click attack.
I'm very confused. Jace is in play, it has 2 counters on it, and it looks like he's activating this in response to Jace bouncing it.
Yeah, that I do not quite get that.
4.
And he drew a Pierce. Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and say that was not the correct play. That's where I'm just going to leave that.
So we're in some trouble now?
Well, we're in some serious trouble now. Casting Show and Tell doesn't do anything now. So it's just going to be able to bounce again with Jace. And the clock with Vendilion Click is far too relevant.
So he doesn't have Sneak Attack in hand, so I guess he basically has to ponder. I guess. He's a pedal.
The problem is, even if he puts a giant doofus into play, it doesn't matter.
Well, if he sneaks in Emrakul, it definitely matters.
Sure, if it's sneak attack, it matters, but we don't see a sneak attack in his hand.
Right, that got clicked away.
He can try to ponder for a sneak attack. 2, 3. He's going to want to shuffle those away. Now he has to find sneak attack.
So we're basically on a 1 hour for sneak attack here, but sneak attack does actually just kill Hetrick basically.
I mean, assuming that he has Emrakul in his hand, yes.
I believe I saw one drawn. I could be mistaken.
Sure.
And so big draw and.
I think that was red. I think that was red. I think that was red.
I think we're good. Does he have an Emrakul? I mean, it's actually he's got an Emrakul. So we're about to hit the wrap 'em up box right now.
Sacrificial.
And then it becomes pretty elementary from here.
Are you sure about that?
I'm pretty confident.
You're sure that it's elementary after there's no permanence in play? Yeah. You've got a PhD in magic.
Yeah. I can subtract 6 from 6.
That attaboy. Attaboy.
Poor Hetrick. I mean, the clicking away the sneak attack turned out to be that play was awesome because the sneak attack would have killed him for sure on the leftovers, and now now this is happening.
Poor Hetrick for so many reasons.
Yeah. Play perfectly, still lose.
That's correct. And you know what this sneak attack is about to do? Ship it, holla! Ship those permanents, holla! How?
Don't need them.
Not interested in them. Don't need them.
Yeah, I got something for you to ship.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we're gonna go to our discard step here.
Yeah, we're gonna shuffle back in with Ember Cruel.
Sure.
Magic is a cruel, cruel mistress.
Oh.
It's
And Hetrick gets perfected. No permanents in play.
no permanents. What are we have a judge coming in for sneak attack. Not quite sure what we're discussing, but we will find out momentarily,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Okay. Maybe there's some confusion about what's supposed to happen with Emrakul there. I'm not sure.
But we are in the clear, and Chase Zenner is up a game 1-0 against Michael Hetrick and his Stoneblade deck.
Though for future reference going forward, I probably would activate the Emrakul in response to Jace being played.
You'd activate Grizzlebrand.
Rather.
Yeah, sure.
In response to Jace being played, not in response to the Jace activation.
Yes, just
As you
for
have.
future reference for other games, for our viewers at home. Looking at Hetrick's sideboard to see what he can do to get himself out of this hole that he is currently in.
And I do think this game one, honestly, is bad for the Stoneblade deck.
I think it's terrible for the
you
Stoneblade
you have
deck.
a lot of fidgety.
Sure, the issue with the judge is that he discarded before then sacrificed Emrakul, so he went through the ordering incorrectly. Emrakul dies in the end step, so they just wanted to make sure that they are clean about their plays there. But for Hetrick and what he can sideboard in, he doesn't have Sensei Top in his deck. He has one Terminus in his sideboard. He doesn't have Sensei Top in his deck. He can set it up with Brainstorm or Ponder, that sort of thing. But it's nothing too exciting. He has an additional Jace the Mind Sculptor to board in, which was very good last game, so it could be very good again. Path to Exile to take care of Grizzlebrand is a possibility. An Intuition to search for Lingering Souls to start a clock, along with to search for these Cabal therapies as well. He also has Surgical Extraction that he could reasonably bring in.
Yes.
So
Certainly a good answer to Intuition.
Yes.
And you can also randomly tag things.
yes.
I think the most important thing I think from Hetrick's perspective is it's very important in the when you have a deck like this when you're sideboarding for control decks to have a good mixture of proactive disruption and reactive disruption. Because if your deck is all counter spells, what ends up happening is the first couple of turns of the game, you say go with your mana, and then you get overwhelmed in one shot. You can't deploy your counter spells efficiently. So you basically need to have the option of being able to spend your first couple of turns using your mana to make them discard, and then be able to hold up mana later in the game for your counter spells. You need to be using your mana efficiently to disrupt them, so you don't get overloaded at any one particular point. So a good mixture of Thought Seasons and Cabal therapies combined with Force of Will and Spell Pierce is a much better combination than having, either 12 discard spells or 12 counter spells. You'd rather have 6 of both.
I agree with you.
So
Absolutely.
He gets to take out some of his garbage too, which is nice.
As far as Chase's side, what do we think's coming in from over there?
He has a Red Blast and a Pyroblast, which are fine. He has a Flusterstorm, which is another, Pierce. If he's,
More or less.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on how he sets it up, but it is a way to stop Hetrick's disruption.
He has 3 copies of Surgical Extraction, which can fight over Stoneforge Mystic. I'm not a fan of them. 4 Leyline of Sanctity, which is, not really for this matchup. And he has a Bonfire of the Damned.
Boom, baby.
Boom, which is totally sweet. I'm not entirely sure what it's there for, but
But it is sweet.
opponents. It's there for opponents. Opposing creatures and players.
First stories
Yeah.
and times.
Well, I could see Bonfire being a reasonable thing to bring in against potential hate bears or whatever.
Sure.
We're not sure what they could have. It is something of a catch-all against whatever hate creature they could possibly have.
Sure, I mean, it can't take care of a card like Thalia. It can take care of a card like Gaddock. It cannot take care of Gaddock. I take that back. It can take care of Thalia inefficiently. But it can have some applications.
I wonder if Hetrick's going to be sour about it when we go back to the videotape. When he goes back to the videotape and watches this one.
I've got a guess on how he's going to feel.
Yeah. If I was a gambling man.
This guy who plays Magic Online 7 hours a day, 5 days a week,
Yeah.
and is very proficient at the game, I think he will be a little bitter. But guess what? Got to get over it, move on. Game 2 is a new game.
Yep. All right, Hetrick looks happy with his 7. All right, and both players are going to say go.
We see at least a Spell Pierce. I see a Brainstorm. I think I see two Spell Pierces there. So Hetrick has a hand.
And Intuition, it looks like, too.
And we see Ponderu.
He's going to hit a
And
Pierce. The major reason I think to Pierce there is just like your mana is going to be tied up in other things.
Sure, he's going to be busy for the first couple turns of the game.
Right. Yep. Obviously, in an ideal world, you'd rather be saving your Pierces for the big spells. But if you feel like you're going to be tied up brainstorming and intuitioning for the couple turns after that, you'd rather just get your Ponder out of the way, get your Pierce out of the way now.
And
he's going to Pierce again. I like the aggressive use of piercing here.
And it's also the potential that, you know, he does have 4 Snapcaster Mages in his deck, so he probably wants at least one of those in the graveyard.
Sure, oh yeah. Getting to curve into it is really nice. There's also the upside of, you know, the Sneak and Show deck is actually also pretty land light. Looks like he's running 19. So it's possible that, you know, you're going to keep a lot of hands that are 1 land Ponder plus action.
Sure, be able to search for your lands.
Yeah.
Hetrick looks like he wants to brainstorm here because he does have a Flooded Strand to shuffle away some of the garbage.
He's a little land heavy too. He's got 2 lands.
Yeah. He's going to sack this right away. Interesting.
He's going to play... Does he have like a Lingering Souls or something to cast here, or what's going on?
I know he has 3 Lingering Souls in his graveyard, or excuse me, in his sideboard. And he can Intuition for them if he'd like to. An Intuition right now through some sort of counter magic, even though it is suspect to Spell Pierce. But we'll see exactly what he's up to.
And he has a Glacial Chasm in play. Been adopted by a lot of Stoneblade players and others as a hedge against Choke.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Just breaking it main phase and saying go?
Sex right now, maybe he's scared.
Clicking.
Okay, sure. Click on the draw step. I was thinking maybe he was scared of, you know, Stifle or something like that, even though it's not really all that typical from this sort of deck.
So 2 copies of Intuition, an Emrakul, a Lotus Petal, and a Scalding Tarn. Scalding Tarn. Get a very good hand. He can't click away an Intuition, nor can he click away the threat card. He's redundant on both sides, so...
Personally, I don't think you click away anything then.
Yeah, I don't really know where it gets you. And there's a huge risk, right? Like giving him another draw step here.
Yeah, because then he can cast, if he draws in a sneak attack, he can cast that, and he can draw and show and tell and cast that. So I don't think you take anything, personally. I could see some rationale behind taking Lotus Petal, but I mean, why don't you just let him have that?
Yeah, Lotus Petal also, like giving him a redraw there also is pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
Hetrick looking at his own hand appears to be Brainstorm, Intuition, Tundra.
So not the most impressive of hands.
Right, I mean he has the option of Intuition for Force of Will as a way to protect himself and ride the click. He can also, you know, Intuition for Lingering Souls increases clock if he draws another counter spell, but yeah, his hand's pretty soft right now. He's not in a good place. Looks like he's just letting him keep it, yeah. It's like we're looking at a main phase Intuition here.
Nope. I feel like that's what it should have been.
No, I get, I don't know. If you're worried about surgical extraction, I mean... And now Hetrick has actually drawn Thoughtseize, which is kind of unfortunate, as if he had clicked away something, this plus the Thoughtseize would mean that he would have one of his bases covered.
Yeah, but I mean, it was just too risky.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying it's just a bad break. It's not. I don't think he played poorly.
Yeah, just far too risky to even consider casting that. But I understand where you're coming from, or excuse me, to even allow him click to have an ability. The good thing about Vanillion Click, however, I mean, Hetrick is in the position where he's just kind of trying to hold on now.
Yep.
You know, he does have to fight through these 2 Intuitions that are going to search for either Sneak Attack or Show and Tell, and he's just going to have to hold steady. The good thing about Vanillion Click is that it does provide a solid clock. I mean, 3 power is definitely relevant, especially with Scalding Tarns and Ancient Tombs and that sort of thing. But is he going to be able to hold on long enough to be able to get this to a
7
third game?
turns is asking a long time to hold off this deck.
It's not a short amount.
So, another Volcanic Island, and I assume we're going to see an Intuition at the end of the turn. And then the question is intuition for what? It wouldn't be surprised if and when Chase Zenner intuitions here, it would not surprise me if Hetrick brainstormed still the end of the turn looking for a surgical extraction, assuming that he brought them in.
Sure, I could see that. And he does have three copies of surgical in his sideboard, and he's got plenty of cards that he can sideboard out. So it wouldn't surprise me if he brought those in at all.
So Hetrick is thinking. He's gonna there's the brainstorm.
2, 3.
Force of Will.
Caracas and Jace.
It's the best 3 cards you could ask for,
It's
basically.
not a bad brainstorm, that's for sure. Not a bad brainstorm at all.
No surgical extraction, so he still needs there's still some risk of him getting basically killed this turn, or on Zenner's following turn here, but the Force of Will provides a lot of insurance, and then the Jace speeds up the clock, and Caracas gives him a ton of insurance the following turn. So
yeah.
Those are about the 3 best cards you could hope to look for if you're Hetrick right now.
That's the thing though, Sneak and Show, excuse me, is such a scary deck to play against. It's scary, scary.
Oh yeah.
At this point, it's possible that you just let Intuition resolve, right? Assuming that you have Force of Will and blue card. If he searches for 3 show and tells, 2 of them go to the bin, 1 of them goes to his hand. It's less show and tells that he has to worry about later on the course of the game.
Yeah. I believe you let it resolve at this point. You also have the information on his hand, so you know that there's not any sort of weird thing with that, like putting the cards in the graveyard are going to be enabling some weird, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So he's going to get a bunch of copies of, Sneak Attack.
Okay.
So 1 of those will go to hand, 2 of them go to graveyard, and that means the Hetrick only has 1 more to worry about in Zenner's deck.
Yes.
We know that Zenner has a Lotus Petal in his hand as well, so he can certainly cast this card. He's going to need another land in order to activate it as well, but the threat of it just being in play is dangerous enough.
So, there's an Emrakul.
Resolve.
Break the pedal.
Sneak Attack.
I assume this is going to be met with Force of Will. Pitching Jace.
It's unfortunate. He really needs that Jace.
Yep. Nothing he can do, although the Caracas is still going to provide him a lot of... but now he's very heavily exposed to show and tell.
Yeah, he is rather... he's rather heavily exposed to show and tell from the Grizzlebrand side of things,
yes.
Just because he's going to draw cards from Grizzlebrand. I mean, Caracas, basically what I assume he's going to do is he's going to hold Caracas for the majority of this game. So that when Zenner does cast show and tell, Zenner's going to put in whatever he's going to put in, Hetrick is going to put in Caracas, and he's going to be covered against both legends.
Right. Although there is an argument for just playing Caracas right now, so you can start Caracas clicking him.
Sure, to control everything?
Yeah. We're going to intuition here. Are we getting surgical extraction here? No, just lingering. Lingering Souls seems...
It's going to be like Lingering Souls. So, yeah, and
2 copies of Cabal Therapy.
Yeah, so he can rip his hand apart. And then whatever way... Well, if he puts the Lingering Souls over to Hetrick's hand, then he'll have to wait until next turn to cast it.
Yeah.
But that's still okay, because Caracas is going to solve any problems that he has.
He's going to give him the therapy, which actually lets him turn on everything this turn.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to leave with the therapy, flashback if needed, and just leave Caracas up, and then take care of everything else the following turn.
Yeah, I think this turn he's just gonna cast therapy. He knows the contents of his hand. Get 2 of the cards or whatever. if he wants to name Emrakul, or he can name Intuition, which is the most threatening card in his hand. Okay, he's going to name Grizzlebrand, sure. And then he's just going to... I mean, he can play Krakus or hold Krakus, and the next turn he can just finish his hand off, and that should be it, because it's very difficult for Sneak and Show to amass the cards to be able to go off, so...
Yeah, Hetrick definitely got all the tools he needed this game.
You see, as we see, Zenner draws a City of Traders.
Yeah, so everything's going to be going away here shortly.
Even intuitioning into response isn't going to do him much good.
Right.
I mean,
sometimes part of me wonders if the Sneak and Show decks for the grindy attrition matchups are supposed to be signing into accumulated knowledge. That wouldn't be a bad use of sideboard slots.
It's an interesting idea.
Like, you have intuition, these games go on forever.
Yeah, I mean, especially against a deck like Stoneblade, where the games do go on forever. Or, you know, I don't even think it's out of the question for someone to sideboard in Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Yeah.
Because you do have, I mean, this particular list has 4 Ancient Tombs and 2 City of Traders, and you also do have Lotus Petal.
Yeah.
So it's not crazy to think that you can cast that card on turn 2.
Right.
And then that'll do all the setup that you could ever need.
So Zenner draws. It's another Emrakul. So next turn's Cabal Therapy. It's going to be...
average. Mediocre.
Yeah.
The only thing that you have to keep in mind about, and he's going to put him down to 6 here, the only thing that you have to keep in mind as well here is that, yes, he's going to be hitting Emrakul with Cabal Therapy more than likely, but the Emrakuls are going to shuffle back in along with those sneak attacks as well. So,
Sure.
So it does make drawing sneak attack reasonable again.
Yeah. Although he has now he has nothing with which to
sneak with.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that sneak attack is a great draw. Also, Krakus is going to make that fairly poor.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that's what can occur.
I think I actually like casting Stoneforge Mystic less than just clicking, like Krakusing my own click and clicking him in the draw step.
Doesn't change the clock.
Right, the Stoneforge Mystic isn't changing the clock.
Yeah. I'd rather control his draw step to the best of my ability. I don't think there's any reason for him to cast Stoneforge Mystic there.
No, but whatever, it's fine. There's almost no way he can lose from there.
Yes, at that point in the game is practically over, but it's just another line of play for Hetrick to consider.
So now we're on to game 3 here. We didn't see a Red Blast or Pyroblast, and the game went on for a while. Part of me wonders if Zenner even brought them in. I would have to assume that he did. They've got to be better than like Dazes, for example, but as possible they're still on the bench.
Do you consider boarding Leyline of Sanctity in at this point? You've seen 2 Cabal Therapies. I don't believe that we saw Thoughtseize from... Did we see Thoughtseize from Hetrick last game? Yes, I believe.
No, we saw Click and Cabal Therapy, I think.
Okay. I mean, you've seen 2 Cabal Therapies. I wouldn't say that it's safe to assume that you're going to expect to see Thoughtseize, but we know that discard is part of his plan.
Yep.
Do you think it's a reasonable idea to bring in Leyline of Sanctity at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I think you've seen enough at this point, right? You've seen enough. You've seen enough discard. Yeah, I think it's worth it. The problem is, like, the problem I have with these decks with a card like Leyline is, like, where are you making room? Your deck's just all engine and disruption. Just, I guess Daze is not very good against this deck here because the game's going on for forever. And
I don't like Daze at all. I don't especially like Spell Pierce. He only has 1 copy, but it's nothing too exciting. The misdirections are fine. I mean, Force is obviously his best counterspell. Misdirection isn't a bad counterspell, but you don't want to board out too many blue cards because then you won't be able to do the alternate casting cost for Force. So,
yeah, I think you are. I think cutting Dazes and a Pierce for 4 Leyline of Sanctities makes a lot of sense. And then You could just make 2 misdirections into 2 red blasts if you wanted to.
It accomplishes the same thing.
A reasonable package.
Okay. Your blue card count for force is a little bit low then, but I mean you have better hard counters then when you have red blast and pyroblast.
Yeah.
So I can see an argument for that.
So do we believe that, like, at this point, do you think that Hetrick has actually brought in surgical extraction?
It's a good question. To me, it feels like he didn't. Right now, I mean, just the way that he's played the game and that sort of thing, it doesn't seem like he did, but... I'm not, obviously we're not entirely sure if surgical extraction has come in or not, but it seems that the way he's played it has not.
Yeah. So on to game 3 here. We'll see if we have any white ley lines. Does he have any out to a white ley line if it actually sticks?
There's one disenchant Hetrick's board. That's it. And I think white ley line does a fairly nice job of making some of Hetrick's effects and game plans rather poor.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely imagine a bunch of reasonable draws from Hetrick that just go straight to the trash can if there's a white ley line.
Yeah. I want to make sure I know exactly what ley line of sanctity does.
I believe it's you player controlling it cannot be targeted.
Okay.
By opposing effects.
You have hexproof. Okay, perfect. So I just want to make sure I knew exactly what cards it would shut off. So like Vendilion Click, it would shut off Jace the Mind Sculptor, Fate Seal, all of that stuff. So.
Yep. All right. Well, no white cards in that hand.
Zenner is... Ooh,
good.
He reached. Guess no, maybe so.
No, he's going back.
All right, Hetrick takes a mulligan on 6.
Looks like there was some land in the hand, so there's probably not enough disruption.
This feels like a pretty tough matchup for Stoneblade, honestly.
Yeah, well, game 1 seems really bad. Things get better after sideboard, but not dramatically better.
Yeah, they don't get a ton better because I mean, what Stoneforge, what its game plan is to cast a Stoneforge Mystic, get a Batter Skull, put it into play. That game plan is garbage.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with what's going on.
Yeah, has no effect on the game, like a Sneak and Show, and they don't have a ton of hard permission in their deck. There is some permission, but there's just not a ton of it.
Yeah. No, that's the problem with some of the good stuff kind of control decks with a couple counters. The dedicated combo decks can easily go over the top of you game 1, and then you're putting a lot of pressure on your sideboard. All right, so Hetrick's going to keep 6.
He's going to go ahead and pass. Islands for our players. City of Traders. Hetrick does have a lot of spell pierces in his deck.
There's a Scalding Tarn.
He's just going to pass back again. I see a Polluted Delta from Hetrick. He's going to crack this right away. So this could be a discard spell incoming.
Very good chance. Or Tundra Stoneforge Mystic, I guess, is the other thing.
Ugh.
Oh no.
Ugh.
Oh no.
That's the most unexciting thing ever. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Brainstorm in response.
It looks like Hetrick has a Force of Will in his hand at least.
I did see one. 3.
Three Lotus Petals. I assume some of those are going to be shuffled away unless these petals just kill him.
Yeah, that's one of the more weird brainstorms I've seen.
Yeah.
I play a lot of Legacy. I have not seen that one.
Looks like he's putting 3 petals back.
2 petals.
Or 2 petals, sorry. All right.
Stoneforge is going to resolve. I mean, you're certainly not fighting over that. You get a Batter Skull, which is fine.
I guess you gotta get something.
Yeah. Wish you could see the look on my face. Just ugh. I feel like Hetrick, this is like the best play his deck has, like the reason you're playing that deck, and Zenner just doesn't even care.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's fine. Are you done? And it takes a turn.
I actually think the real reason to play this deck is probably the best deck at enabling Jace.
Okay, I mean that's reasonable. I mean there are some decks that just straight full to Batterskull. Like a deck like Rug Delver is just like fairly dead to Batterskull. So
we didn't shuffle his fetch land before drawing the second pedal there. So he might have big plans for this turn.
Interesting.
I think Hetrick has only one Force of Will plus blue card to protect himself here.
Sure.
City of Traders. And pass.
Pass. If it's City of Traders, pass. I don't think that the second Lotus Petal should be in his hand.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what would rationalize that.
We're going to see an Intuition go into the stack here.
Hetrick, considering his options, he's going to let it resolve.
We're going to do the sneak attack show again.
We've seen this before. 3 copies of sneak attack.
2 to the bin, 1 to the grip. And then I guess we're going to go for broke on this particular turn.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what we're going to be doing with that second pedal. If he figures that he has like exact seize on mana somehow and just wanted to ensure another source of mana, or if
it's a way to play around Spell Pierce to an extent, but I mean, if he's on Spell Pierce and he's on Force of Will, looking at his hand right now.
Oh, he did bring in Surgical Extraction.
Zing! Which is it's not terribly surprising.
Yeah. He's got plenty of mediocre cards here to shave out. On the upside of surgicaling something is just so huge.
Yeah. He's going to read City of Traders to see if it's going to die because of the fetch land, but that is not how that works.
You have to play a land.
That is correct.
The fact that play and comes into play mean 2 different things. Not the most intuitive templating.
Strange. Brainstorm goes into the stack.
Hetrick has a click here.
Yeah,
so.
He has a click here as well. Hetrick is fairly well set up this game, honestly. I don't think you fight over this Brainstorm at all. You're probably going to click him in your upkeep, and then you're going to force... He's going to click him in his draw, so excuse me, and then force remove blue card for whatever Zenner has.
And then you have, your Batterskull plus your click to start putting a clock together.
Yep.
Hetrick mulling over his options here. I do agree with you. I don't think you want to fight over this Brainstorm.
Yeah, I just don't really foresee it to be that much of a problem. Obviously, we have perfect information, so we know what the player's hands are, but I just don't foresee it to be that big of an issue. I've also seen Hetrick. Okay.
Oh, all right. Well, we are gonna fight over it.
He's gonna force this. Also see that Hetrick has a Snapcaster Mage in his hand as well.
Right.
So Surgical will be getting a little bit even more use.
So now, Zenner's hand has gone quite a bit down in value. Now his hand is Emrakul, Mound, and 2 petals.
Yes. So now we're going to get into the situation here where what I believe is going to happen, and I've been wrong before, which means I'll be wrong again, is that Hetrick is going to draw step, cast Mendelian Click on Zenner, target Zenner, see what he draws. If he draws a sneak attack or a show and tell, click it to the bottom and hope he doesn't peel out on them.
Yeah. Sneak attacks. We're done having to worry about that. We're basically
we're on 4 show and tell.
Show and tell or bust right now.
Yeah. So I think what it's going to take is running show and tells to win this one.
Yeah.
Ponder.
We're not clicking, I guess.
I guess not. I guess what he can do, and I actually like this by now, as you see Leyline of Sanctity.
You're gonna want to shuffle up Gristlebrand, White Leyline land, I think.
Yeah. And what he can do, because his hand is Emrakul, Lotus Petal, is that if he does draw Show and Tell, he can respond to Show and Tell, click him for his Emrakul.
Sure.
And then if he draws Doofus, Bad Beats. But I think I would have preferred to click him in his draw step.
Yeah.
Personally.
Although it does change the clock, I think, if he gets the Batter Skull out there first. He goes, hits you to 15, then click the following turn, untap, attack with all 3 guys, hit you to... Yeah, he has lethal on 3 turns this way.
Okay. You drew Brainstorm. I'm just going to cast this Brainstorm. Two, 3.
Feels back. Island. Emrakul. Red Blast. So he's basically done now. He doesn't have any reshuffle. And there's no hope of... There's no hope of casting anything for at least 2 turns. And that's going to be lethal. And, you know, I guess he has a Red Blast. He can Red Blast the click and stay alive for a little bit longer than that. But
sure, but he has two dead draws coming.
Yeah. He's basically done.
He's going to play Lotus Petal and play other Lotus Petal. So now he has access to Red Blast on the click, but Batter Skull's coming into play now. Draw a card. Looks like he's going to serve for 5, put him down to 14.
Yeah, it's pretty elementary from here, I think.
Yeah, I don't really disagree with you. There's nothing that Zenner's going to be able to do over the course of the next 2 turns. Dillion Click is going to come in at some point. It's going to get Red Blasted, but it's going to be too far ahead. Zenner is weighing his options right now, what he can and cannot do.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, his hand is basically just Red Blast, Emrakul. I mean, I'm assuming this is going to bleed out a Red Blast.
Yeah.
It's 5 more points, so 2-turn clock. There's the island we know about.
Passing back. See what Hetrick can take a look at. If he's checking the graveyard, we know he has Snapcaster Mage in his hand, so he can check the graveyard to see if he wants a surgical extraction, anything in particular, but there's not a dying need to do that right now.
Right, and it would be one thing if the Snapcaster was allowing you to get to lethal this turn, but it still doesn't, so there's no point.
Yeah. Doesn't change the clock at all, so.
So, thinking of Zenner, I don't know, I guess we're still in the end. Okay, we are going to go for it. So we're going to extract, not entirely sure.
He's going to take Ponder.
You look at a hand of Emrakul land.
Or as what I've been known to call hot garbage.
Yeah, the garbage. Yeah. So this play is actually pretty sweet because this attack takes him down to 5/4 3-2. Yeah, so the reason to do this, I guess, is even if Zenner draws Show and Tell and shows and tells in Emrakul, he still just dies on the attack.
Sure.
Like, this puts him in a, now we're on a 0.
Yeah, this is just an actual 0-outer. There's nothing that he can do to win the game. Okay. I understand where Hetrick's coming from now.
Yep. The dude is sharp. He's a couple plays ahead.
He's not bad.
He's not bad.
Not bad.
So, get an Underground Sea, thin out the deck a little bit.
And we're just going to go, Zenner's got one more draw step, and, we have his 75 in front of us. There's nothing that can save him from the situation he's in.
Lingering Souls.
Sure, Lingering Souls with flashback. Type 2 style.
Yep. Actually, very little of that in the Center Fortune yesterday.
And
the final rub-in's a white ley line.
A white ley line, a card I cannot cast. Oh, you can't cast it with the 2 petals.
Yeah, he could break it out.
Cast it.
So Mike Hetrick wins 2 games to 1. Very well fought match. Game 1 was rough for him. As we anticipated, not a very good matchup game 1, but sideboarded into enough stuff, played very cautiously when he needed to, played very aggressively when he needed to, was able to keep Zenner off of this combo while still applying enough pressure to end the game quickly and cutting off, Zenner's outs kind of incrementally as the game went on.
Yep.
So